Yo, guys, we got it.
You got it?
We're live. We're live.
We're live?
Yeah, brother.
Start the music. Hit it.
Sorry, guys. I didn't cue up any music. I didn't know that was my photo. I know that was my responsibility just because I did it last time.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man. What song were you playing last time? I didn't get to hear the
music, though. I got you.
Here, I got you. You ready?
You got it?
You ready?
Yeah.
Oh, stop it. Oh. Okay, what happened?
We're still.
Hello?
It's the We Still Here podcast, episode number 2.
Episode 2, baby. Here we are. We're in the building.
Numero dos, baby. Numero dos.
Yo, we ain't no joke. We coming through live. This is the We Still Here Fantasy Football Podcast, episode 2. We're here live, exclusive Christopher Escobar debut on the channels. What is up?
Thank you, man. Thank you. I'm actually trying to survive some MSG right now. I'm laying in bed trying to pass out. Just finished having some sesame seed chicken for dinner, and it's, I try to say no every time, but for some reason I just can't stop myself. So this is what happens. Now you have to just fight off the itis, But I'm glad to be here, man. This is I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. What do we have? 12 more games, I think, maybe after today. So yeah. So let's do this. Let's get this started, baby.
Yeah. So Fadl, I think we're gonna take a look back on week 4. It was a pretty big week in terms of the league. Standings starting to separate, and people are starting to figure out like where they stand, where they are. With more than 25% of the regular fantasy regular season in the books.
Yeah, so we're now on week 5. Last week, we had, I think, which are a couple of upsets. One of which is Chris, who's on today. Played his brother last week. Lost.
Yeah, I haven't heard
points.
Has Charles been talking smack, Chris?
Charles woke up this next day, Tuesday morning at like 7:30, and like the first thing he said was, "Yeah, you suck." So yeah, he's been talking smack all week and stuff. So it's pretty disappointing when you live with the person who you're playing against. You got to see him every day. So for the remaining, I guess, the season, I'm not even sure if I get to play him again this year, but I hope I do, so I can try to get that, so I can even it out. If not, then I'm not going to hear the end of it until next year. So, I mean, it is what it is. But
if you listened into the first podcast show, episode 1, we talked a little bit about you and about your team, Chris.
Okay.
And we think you have one of the best teams in the league, and we think that you should have had some separation. At least I thought you should have some separation from everyone else, given your squad. But let me explain to you, okay, in short detail.
It's why you fail.
Okay? Because it's your start. It's your start, sit strategy, my friend. Every week, week on, week in and week out. It's your start, sit strategy. Let me just break.
What do you mean? Like just starting the same players that like just starting the same team over and over again?
Well, Tyler Lockett. You started Tyler Lockett over Tyrell Williams in a plus match.
Yep. Last week.
Okay.
Oh yeah. He went for like 23 points or something like that. I remember.
25 points. I mean, Tyler Lockett had a good game. He went for 14, but
yeah,
that's another 10 points. Tyler Lockett is a boom or bust player. He may have 2 more good games the rest of the season. The rest,
dude, you could argue he just got unlucky. Cam Newton went off and had his best game of the year.
But it's happened. You gotta understand, like if you look at every game this season I've had, even from my game, like from game 1, like Hunt goes on for like 40 points. You know, Lorenzo in game 2 beats me by 1 fucking point because of and I could have won that game if I had a defensive play, I think, if I'm right. If it wasn't for that stupid waiver strategy with Sean. You know, I lost the second one because I literally lost my second round by 1 point or less. I think it was less than a point. I won my third matchup, and then my fourth one against Charles was just, dude, the whole entire season isn't doing anything, and then decides to blow up the one time. And probably he probably might have played his best game of the season this Sunday that just passed by. You know, so it's like, if you want to play me, man, it's like put in your worst play and watch him go for like 35 points. And then, you know, it happened last year too. It happened early on. It happened the first 6 games. Everybody I played had guys who went off for like a ridiculous amount of points. Like guys who are averaging 12 or 13 points a game will go for like 35 on me. That's
go ahead, man. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. It's crazy. It's like I got the worst luck.
Lorenzo beat you by like exactly like 1.24.
I know. It was ridiculous.
And you had you played you didn't play Carlos Hyde, basically.
Yeah, that I messed up on because I kept him inside instead of playing him. And he went for like 20 points. I'm not gonna lie, I made some mistakes.
You played Terrence West over Carlos Hyde.
Terrence West timeshare with at that time Buck Allen, and then also creeping up Collins.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
trying to look up.
You also were unlucky because Graham busted and only had 1 point that week.
Yeah,
which is unfortunate. And then you also had Watt's brother go down with an injury, who had like blown up in week 1 with a great defensive game, and then week 2 was a bust at 2 points. So, you know, I mean, and you did go up against Crabtree with his blow up week there.
Right.
Crabtree's no joke, man. Crabtree can do that. He's done it before. He did it last year.
So
it's no, go ahead, Fado.
So another player that I think, you know, another player that I think shouldn't be losing this year, I think, is Jerome. And I can't really figure out why. Part of me makes me feel like maybe the reason why is he's not as active as he used to be.
Nah.
But if you look at his team, right?
Yeah.
He's got a decent team. He's got, you know, Palmer at quarterback, you know, mid-level quarterback, Des Bryant, T.Y. Hilton, Stephon Diggs, Melvin Gordon, Javoris Allen. He's got Eric Ebron at tight end, not a bad tight end to have. He's got Demaryius Thomas on the bench, and you know, 2 serviceable, you know, flex considerations in Matt Forte and Kenny Brett. But he just keeps finding a way to lose, and I've tracked him over the course of the season. And again, it's start sit strategy.
Jerome doesn't really. I feel like if you know Jerome as well as like me or Rashid does, he's definitely someone. He's probably in like 7 fantasy leagues at once, or like 10 different fantasy leagues, or he's probably playing like the daily fantasy league that they have. So he's probably not paying much attention to this. But I mean, if he put the time in behind it, Jerome is a dangerous person. dangerous. His knowledge of football is incredible. But yeah, he's probably just not like giving it his all. He probably like checks this like once a week.
Yeah, he has had his share of unluckiness though. Like if you look at just to give you an example, if you look at week 1, he lost. He had 114.88 points. Chris, your brother took him out with 145.2. Not a great score, but Andy Dalton really pooped the bed in that game. He had like -3.5. So that plus Dez and Hilton combining for 12 points pretty much sunk him, even though the rest of his team didn't do too bad. That was the week Stephon Diggs went off against New Orleans. So anyway, I think we should, if you don't mind, guys, I think I'm going to transition. We're going to head into our interview, our exclusive Chris Escobar interview. Does that sound good, guys?
Yeah. Let's rock and roll.
For sure. Let's do this.
All right. So, Escobar, I'm going to be interviewing you. The first question I have for you is, what is the team name that you have on your team? And can you give us some of the background on that?
Yeah, so my team name is Die Brady Die. I think I picked that like 3 seasons ago. I've been a lifelong Jet fan for most of my life. It goes back to like Vinny Testaverde. You're talking probably like 15 years ago, more than 15 years. So being a Jets fan is just for the past, how long has Brady been in the league for? Like 18 years now, right? Maybe 16, something like that. But anyway, he's been in the league for a long time, and since he's like taken over as quarterback for New England, he's literally destroyed my hope of ever like winning a championship. So it kind of just brings me back to just wanting him to just hopefully dying one day, or just at least retiring. Maybe I should just change my name to just Retire Brady Retire. But yeah, at this point, I just want him to like disappear. Maybe we'll have a shot. Him and Belichick, because I think those two together are probably the best tandem, to ever play sports or to play for a sports team in general anywhere. But yeah, that's pretty much the reason. And then another thing is I saw him a few years ago. I was walking from my cousin's house, and I saw him by himself. Like, this is Tom Brady, probably one of the wealthiest athletes in the world, and he just by himself jogging through the East Village. And I thought to myself, I was like, I could probably hit him with a pipe, maybe. I felt like somebody would be. I feel like I would I'd probably make the paper for sure. I'd definitely get arrested. But I feel like some Jet fan with a ton of money would probably bail me out and then help me with some legal fees, or at least create an account for me. At least put some money in commissary for like the next 2 to 3 years that I'll be locked up. But maybe I'll end this career. Nancy Kerrigan and stuff like that. But yeah, that's about it.
So, also, I'd like to know, you got to tell people a little bit about your, are you guys still there?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So Esco.
He's barf his Chinese food out? It sounded like he barfed that shit out.
I think he's okay, dude.
He's all right?
Yep. Esco, you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Something wrong with you. You're certainly not very good.
Wait, what?
Fado's trying to bomb you, dude.
Oh, you guys are breaking up right now. That's why.
You can't
I can hear you. No, I can hear you and stuff like that, but you were like breaking up while he was talking and stuff. So
I fully understand.
Okay, so Esco, next question.
So
tell us a little bit about how you ended up starting, like getting into the league, into We Still Here.
Oh man, that's actually a good story, man. So I'll go back a little bit. I'll go back in time a little bit. Maybe remember, I think we were like sophomore in high school. well, I got into fantasy baseball with Rashid and Jerome and stuff like that. You know, I was always a big Mets and Yankees fan as a kid. And yeah, so I got into that. I really enjoyed it. And then later on, you know, college, you know, I did a couple fantasy leagues and stuff. And then as I got older, but, you know, I think it was me, Rashid, and Fado actually, and my brother. Who else? I think maybe, I forgot who the other people were in the beginning. But yeah, we talked about this and stuff. I felt like it was a great way to just connect with friends that we don't really get to see often. You know, like Fado being like, you know, in the Middle East for a long time where he was working, you know, and then I'm trying to think. Who was it who so we have me, you, Cheryl. Oh yeah, Cheryl too, and then was Sean in it the first season too, right?
No, Sean wasn't in it the first season.
Sean was in it the second season, right? But Cheryl was in it the first season.
Yeah, we also had Chris Brandstetter, who left.
Was he the Ravens fan?
No, he's a Bills fan. He's from Buffalo originally. He lives in.
Oh yeah.
He actually lives in Vegas now, but I met him in Cali in Davis.
Who was the Ravens fan?
The Ravens fan was
the guy who just stopped. He didn't even show up. He stopped starting players and didn't pay his fee.
Yeah, that's the guy who beat us for like $100 or $50. I forgot.
That was the guy that I just described, but he wasn't a Ravens fan.
Yeah, Rashid, you owe us some money, man.
Auburn Maroons. Who was Auburn Maroons?
That was Chris Brandstetter.
Yeah, that's the guy who. No, he was a Bills fan, man. He was a Bills fan.
Remember the whole AFC North battle? There was like me, Cheryl.
It was Cheryl's cousin, I think, who was the Ravens fan. It was
yeah.
Andrew.
Yeah, so that's pretty much my story, man. It was just a way to just connect with people, man. I feel like fantasy sports in general, it's a great way to just keep friends, you know, together. Just, you know, keep them talking and just, even if we don't see each other every year and stuff like that, like it's a perfect time, you know, just to have like a 2-minute conversation just to catch up and find out how people are doing. So, yep.
So, yo, guys, I'm gonna cut right to the chase on this. All right, we're gonna get into it right here, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna get right into it. I threw you 2 softballs there. Now Escobar, I'm gonna throw you the curveball. So what happened with a potential trade that was gonna go down between you and Fadl this past week? What was the deal?
I had some random, you know, some guy that I know for a long time just kept whispering in my ear and just kept sending me these random like text messages. You know, just kept telling me not to do it. It wasn't a good trade, you know. So I trusted the person. I was like, and then he just kept talking about trying to, you know, keep leading Fadl on and stuff, and just keep trying to get Fadl, just keep dragging him along. And I told him I didn't want to do it, but this guy decided, you know, he convinced me to do it, and I did it. And I feel bad for it. I feel terrible, but no. The honest truth is that I wanted to make the trade. I don't listen. Julio Jones is probably, you know, I mean, not even probably. He's top 3 receivers right now, you know, in the league. But I was reading some stuff on him. I was doing like Roto World, ESPN, and it's just the hip. The hip is like, you know, it's a hard injury because it kind of limits your pop. You know, it kind of limits you when you're lined up and you want to take off for like those first 5 yards. So. And plus, like for the past, like what is it, 4 games he's already played, he really hasn't done much. And I'm actually shocked that Hyde has done as well as he has, because last season I had him too, and he really didn't do much for me. But yeah, Julio Jones. I mean, I feel like maybe as an even.
Tell me what the offer was.
It was Crabtree, Julio Jones for Hyde and Baldwin. But Baldwin is like, I'm giving you my top 2, and I don't even have my receiving core is so bad.
Esco.
Yeah.
I got to stop you right there, man, because I'm going to be totally honest. I want to give everybody the full facts on this whole situation.
Wait,
if you're going to bring it up,
you got to let me respond.
I'm breaking up?
No, if you're gonna bring it up, you gotta let me follow up before you.
But can I just? I need
go
to give. another little wrinkle here. When Esco told me about the deal, he said it was Julio for Hyde and Baldwin. Period. There was no talk about Crabtree. If you put Crabtree, Escobar, let me tell you something. If you put Crabtree in that shit, it's not even like it's such a great deal for you that I can't believe you turned it down. I can't believe it.
Now hold on a second, okay? There are two things I want to talk about here, okay? I'm going to lead with the conclusion, all right? Chris, you know Rashid for how many years now?
I mean, man, I don't even know. Probably like 15. What am I, 32? Yeah, like 15 years probably, I think. 15, 16 years. It's been a long time, man. I feel old. I don't even want to say that.
So
old.
You know Rashid for a long time. What do you know about Rashid? You think he's a pretty competitive guy when it comes to sports?
Actually, yeah, man. I think Rashid is probably one of the more competitive people that I know. So
who are you facing this week?
Who am I facing again? Ferrari Bengals, I think. What was it? Who am I facing? Let me look. I gotta find my team. I haven't really paid attention this week. I'm trying to find them right now. Dude, it's the MSG, man. My brain. And I'm usually in bed by like 10:30. This is probably the latest I've been up in like.
Rashid, who is he facing this week?
Rashid, you there? Hey, Slop.
This is actually pretty key.
He's facing me.
Exactly. Chris,
Chris, I'm just surprised that you didn't know that.
Okay.
It shows a little bit about how much you're paying.
Hold on.
This week?
Hold on. Chris, I'm trying to get to a point here.
Go ahead.
Rashid is playing you. He knows he's playing you, and he knows that if you were to pick up, okay, right? You were to pick up
playing Brooklyn about why did I think I was playing Barry's Bungles? I didn't know I was playing you, Rashid. I had no idea I was actually playing you.
Yo, Fadl, your point is totally squashed because Julio's on a bye, okay?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I forgot. That's also the other thing.
It does matter.
Didn't you tell me it was a good deal?
It was a good deal, but the thing is, Father, I also told you this yesterday too. Another thing that I was kind of scared of was that he had a bye week, dude, and I was like, I need a win this week. If I don't I'm 1-3 right now. If I don't get a win this week, then my season's almost done. Like unless I go on some insane, like 6-game winning streak, like my season's probably gonna come to an end. So at this point, I'm like, I need a win.
You tell me the deal.
If it was next week, dude, and I was in a better position, then I would take a chance.
All right. The point is this, right? Rashid told you it was a good deal, and that's, like if you had taken the deal, he would have definitely beat you this week, 100%.
Yes.
Because you would have given away two of your immediate starters, and you would have lost. Guaranteed. I guarantee you, unless like he, like two of his top players, like Larry Fitzgerald and what's his face, Todd Gurley, fluked this week, then maybe you would still have a shot.
Any given Sunday, fellas. Any given Sunday.
Point number 2 is, I think there's a little bit of fantasy football etiquette in making your own decisions on trades. I feel like, sometimes people come to me for trade offers and trade advice, and I give them my opinion, right? And it may be wrong because I want them to think that my advice is wrong, and they do the opposite, right? Sometimes I'm actually trying to help them. But at the end of the day, you got to make your own decision. You got to understand who's also talking to you, because Rashid is playing you this week. I mean, he could totally have raw dogged your ass so that he could.
No, I mean, I spoke to Rashid about this, and he said the deal that you offered the first time in terms of getting Julio was actually a good deal. But he told me to take it. I was gonna take it, but then I started thinking about it, and like my biggest concern, and I'll be completely honest with you, was if I was like 2-2 Fado, or 3-1, then I would have taken that deal without I would have taken it with no problem,
But keep in mind, Rashid is a very competitive player. He recognizes that you're a tough person to beat in the league. He's what, 3-1? You're 1-3. If he loses to you, he may have a hiccup with Sean. He may have a hiccup with me. He may have a hiccup with, anyone, a couple of other people in the league. And so he's in a position right now where, you can't trust his advice. That's my view. And that goes to a very important subject, I feel like, in fantasy football in general, is, you can't trust, especially in your own league, what people tell you. You just kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. Sometimes I'll ask Rashid straight up, like, what do you think about this trade? He'd be like, oh, I think you should do this or do that. And sometimes I'm thinking, I wonder if he's looking at me potentially losing this week. Because if I lose, he's in a better position, yada, yada, yada. Same thing with trades.
Exactly. And Fadl, I totally agree with you. I want to change gears again, keep us rolling right along. Chris, I've got another question for you. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm looking at my points right now. That's why, for the year so far.
So my other question for you, Chris, is what is your favorite thing about We Still Here?
Dude, I mean, the list goes on and on, man. I mean, I love the competitiveness. I love being in a league with just close friends that I've known for years. I love being in a league with my brother, where I can just like talk trash to every time I beat him.
Happy birthday!
Main thing I think that I love the most is probably just being surrounded and just talking to guys on like a weekly basis. And like, for example, like Jerome, I hadn't spoken to Jerome almost for a whole year up until the league started, and then like we reconnected. He was at my house, having breakfast and stuff like that. Same thing for T, man. Like T was over here, Lorenzo, and that's another thing. Lorenzo's also like a really close friend of mine. Like I've known him actually longer than I've known Rashid. I actually went to like junior high school with Lorenzo, and I've known him for a long time. So it's just, dude, I love this league, and like my dream, like obviously my dream would be to win the league, at least once. But like my main goal is just to try to keep this going for like as long as possible. It'd be nice if like Hotway, if I even had a kid, or Fado had a kid, later on, and like we'd have them inside the league, or just keep this going, dude. I feel like this is something that what Jerry has something going on in a fantasy baseball league that he's been a part of since like freshman year in high school. So we're going back almost, I don't know, 20 years. So he's been in the same league for almost 20 years with the same group of guys. That's kind of something I want. I want to be in a league where, we've been together, we're connected, and it'd be good to actually like later on maybe go see a football game together, maybe even Ohio, maybe even in like Pennsylvania somewhere, It'd just be nice to kind of just meet up one time and like go out to a game and just hang out. So yeah, so that's what I love about the league.
Let me know.
Definitely.
Speaking of Jerome, let me know if you know like his pager number.
Oh, his cell phone number? I will pass that along.
I have his cell phone number, his Gmail. I've got everything. But whatever it is that you can do to get
dude, you can get Jerome.
Oh.
Dude, I think Jerome, didn't you tell me Jerome was driving a cab? He works for Uber now, right? Just order a cab. Order a cab. And then just pick the longest destination possible. And then just find them out. Be like, we're gonna make this trade.
Yo, Esco, you want to tell people about your least favorite thing that goes on and we're still here?
Oh,
maybe something that still goes on, or maybe that used to go on. Anything, history, present.
Oh, wow.
I do. I'm not gonna lie. I do feel guilty sometimes not making trades. I do. I feel like I'm letting my friends down, and I'm just like. But then I gotta remember, like, this is also like a competitive league, and I want to win. So it's like I kind of want to help people out and stuff like that. Sometimes I think guys do get a little too competitive. Sometimes guys do get a little too competitive, I think, but I think it's great, though. I think it helps the league out a lot. I think in the beginning, the season 1, we had a lot of guys who were really committed and some guys who just didn't care. Last year, oh, Jesus Christ, like, people will stop calling me. Yeah, in terms of, like, what I don't like about the league, dude, it's there's probably, I mean, that's about it. Like, that's the only thing I don't like and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. Sean Hill's fucking waivers. That's what I don't fucking like. Fuck that. I completely forgot about that. Sean Hill's stupid fucking waivers who cost me a fucking game season 2, and he didn't even have he didn't even think it was a good idea to, like, put it to a vote or, like, ask people. Oh, and then also this asshole keeps fucking calling me for some reason. That's also something I don't like. But Sean, if you're listening to this, motherfucker, let me stop. But if you're listening to this, man, that was this waiver shit is a terrible idea. It makes things a lot more difficult. I think that teams could be better if they could just grab players left and right. I mean, I don't know. I've never used a waiver system before. It's a pain in the ass, but we'll figure it out. Maybe next season, we'll see what we can do. So that's about it.
I just want to say, I appreciate what you have to say on it, but at the same time, I think that like having free agent acquisition budget has been cool.
Please.
We've already seen somebody break the bank, so to speak. And since then, we have also voted to approve FAB trading. So I think we can definitely see Lorenzo trading for some more FAB in the near future.
So just on that note, Lorenzo threw down like 34 FAB on Higgins.
No, I heard Chris Ivory spent like $50 on.
Me?
No, Lorenzo. Lorenzo spent like $50 on, like, not Chris Ivory, on
Latavius Murray. Latavius Murray.
No, was it? I heard it was this guy. What's his name? The hell's his name? The running back from Seattle.
Latavius Murray.
Latavius Murray from Oakland.
But he also spent 34 on a guy who's now on waivers.
On waivers. Yep.
Dude, I don't know where Lorenzo gets. Don't ask me why. Listen, if you knew Lorenzo personally, the guy's probably one of the most honest, like, trusting people you could ever meet in your entire life. Like, he'll have your back 110%. In terms of fantasy football, that guy's fucking nuts. Like, my brother says it all the time. Like, he's like, he doesn't know what the hell Lorenzo's doing half the time. Like, he's like, dude, if he was a legit football owner, he'd probably the first NFL, like, franchise to go bankrupt.
Like, what season feels like?
Who? Jerry Jones?
A lot of money in Atlantic City, and I'm very proud of it.
Oh, yes. No. Dude, he'd be the Donald. Actually, he would be the Donald Trump, dude. He'd be like
Donald Trump of the league, son.
Dude, he would bank it. Dude.
Yo, guys, how about guys? Speaking of,
he'd pay O.J. Simpson. He'd give O.J. Simpson $100 million just to play for, like, the Bills again. He'd be like, O.J., you just got released there from jail. Like, come on, I'll give you $100 million. Come play for me.
We can't beat Mexico at the border or in trade.
That's actually, is that Fado? Is that you, man? That's pretty cool.
I don't know. This is the We Still Here podcast. That's what it is.
Oh, that's beautiful, man. That's awesome.
Yo, Escobar. I also want to know. I would like to know if there was one thing about the league that you could change. What would it be?
Probably the one thing I could probably not consistency, but trying to get the same guys to stay. I think this year we'll have that. I think maybe we'll have this year well, it'll be the first time where all 12 teams like come back for the next season. Because it gets difficult because when guys come in next season, they get stuck with teams who are on the bottom. They don't really have a lot of great keepers. I mean, they do obviously get good draft pick, but they also have to put down the $100, and that kind of makes things a little bit difficult. But working with a fantasy like NFL team, it's any given Sunday, man. So it's like a team. Like look at Foddle's boy. What is it? The Giggles or the Giggities?
Yeah.
He's 2-2 right now. He's in 4th place. No, was it? No, it wasn't the Giggity. It was the Barari Bungles.
Yeah,
anyway.
that's Anthony. Anthony is Barry Bungles.
Yeah. So Anthony, remember, he was complaining in the beginning of the season about how bad his team was going to be, and he's like 2-2 right now. And he's probably got the best running back in the league. But yeah, so just consistency. That would probably be like the only thing that I would change. Like, we could just get guys to be, just come back next season. But I think that might happen this year, so we'll see.
I have a good feeling that it will, for sure.
Yeah, wouldn't you guys agree that it's probably the most competitive it's been?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, in terms of people just being like having well-rounded teams, like there's much more parity. Like we're not seeing as many 200-point weeks. I think scoring, it may be also true though that scoring across the NFL is down this year for some reason.
It is.
Like defenses are just playing much better.
Oh yeah.
And that is clearly also affecting fantasy production. Chris, I've got another question for you. Who is your favorite player in fantasy? And this can be in the past or the present. In fantasy.
That's actually a great question.
Good question.
Oh man, that's a good question. I don't even know. I can't even. Does it have to be an offensive player, or can it be a defensive player?
Anything you want, man.
I mean, dude, I'd have to go with probably like one of my favorite players in general, just as a football fan, is Ray Lewis probably. Like that guy, he beat a murder rap. Like he beat a murder charge. And he had, that's pretty impressive. He go to college, kill somebody, and then go on to have like a Hall of Fame football career. And like scare the shit out of a lot of people in the NFL. Like that guy literally was like, coming down the field, probably the toughest SOB out there. He literally could probably line up in the huddle or just on the field and then just like tell somebody like. And just to scare him, like, I killed somebody. I'm a murderer. But, yeah, Ray Lewis, man. I think Ray Lewis is a monster. Ray Lewis is probably, I think, one of the best defensive players to ever play the game. And I wish that he was a Jet, but unfortunately he's not, or he won't be. So, and if he's also part of the U, which is, like, my favorite college team of all time.
Yo, Rashid, keep Hathaway away from Chris, man. I don't know about that.
Yeah, keep away from me.
Yo,
I'm sorry. I gotta say, I appreciate your, nice comments about Ray Lewis, but I think you're missing a player that you've been hot on for many years.
Who?
Chris Ivory, baby.
Oh yeah, I mean, dude, I don't know, but Chris Ivory is like, dude, he had like one solid season, maybe two with the Jets. The Jets have had, they really haven't had great luck when it comes to running back for like a long time. The last person I could think who played, what was his name that retired? Man, it's going to come to me at the end. But yeah, dude, the Jets haven't had great offense in a long time. They've always been a decent defensive team, especially with, not this coach, the other one. The one who's the coach for Buffalo?
The previous Rex Ryan?
They had Rex Ryan, man. Their defense was always like on point. And then when he left, it kind of just like fell apart. But I think it's getting better, man. I think the Jets have I was hoping the Jets would be 0-3 this year, like just try to get like a first round pick, try to get a decent quarterback this season. But I feel like the defense is probably going to keep them in a lot of games. I think they have a young defense. They drafted 2 cornerbacks last year, and I think they're both going to be really good. And they had that kid Leonard, that monster, that beast. But Chris Ivory, dude, man, nah, I'm good. I'll stick with Ray Lewis in the U.
Yo, Esco, who is your least favorite player in fantasy? And this could be also past or present.
Man, let me see.
G. Escobar.
Tom Brady, man. Tom,
of course.
It's Tom Brady. In fact, can I have Belichick in there,
Goes
man?
deep, man. It goes deep.
It does go.
Yo, Belichick has screwed plenty of people over in fantasy, including those who have owned Patriots, definitely.
You know, me and my brother, like, we've had this conversation, and we were like, how cool would it be if you were, like, dating your daughter, and, we're in a fantasy league, and we're able to, like, tap his brain for picks. Like, imagine just sitting down at a dinner table with Belichick, and then you run down you run through your fantasy league for that week, those for picks. Like, just imagine the advice that man would give you, dude. But yeah, it would be Tom Brady, man. I feel like that guy, dude. I've said this for years. He probably sold his soul to the devil. I mean, he's married to a he's worth, probably a couple $100 million at this point. He has 5 or 6 Super Bowls. He's arguably the best quarterback to ever play the game. What else? He's also pretty good looking. He's tall. Yeah, he sold his soul to the devil, man. Tom Brady.
I knew you were gonna go there, Chris. I knew it, and I love it. It's just like you live it, you breathe it, like it's your everyday existence.
Dude, he has a brownstone in the
Tom Brady, and I feel it, son, because like the time, like the pinnacle of like our lives together watching football live was the 2007 New York Giants Super Bowl championship, Super Bowl 42.
In your house,
like the catch by Tyree. No, it was actually at Andy's parents' place.
Oh yeah.
And remember, Judd got on the piano because Andy's parents had like a piano on the first floor.
Yeah.
And Judd like hit the piano, and like we had like a crazy like Coors champagne shower in the backyard on the porch.
And we played football.
And then we went and played football. We played like throw around football on the parking lot by the Key Food down on Fifth Avenue in Brooklyn. It was just like a perfect, like classic night. Like I lost my voice. Like I was totally just like, yo, Fado brought the Skyline chili. Like it was and Chris was like in awe of the Skyline chili, by the way.
So good, man. It's so freaking good.
Like Chris will never stop talking about that Skyline chili that night.
Dude, I read
that was his dude. Bottle, did you know that was his Skyline chili virginity being broken right there? His Skyline chili hymen was broken on the night of the Super Bowl 42 Giants victory over the Patriots to end their perfect season. With not being a perfect season.
They did go. It was 16-0 that
like
season.
Chris, does it get any better than that?
Yeah, if the Jets win.
but let's talk about things that are actually within the realm of possibility.
Nice.
If the Jets beat the Cowboys, man, that'd be so much better, man. That'd be so much sweeter. If the Jets beat the Cowboys.
Yo, tell the Jets to make a trade for Eli Manning, and it can happen.
No,
dude,
man.
Not now.
That's a self-serving move, man.
Who else has beaten the Patriots in the Super Bowl?
Yo, do you guys want to hear something hilarious? You know the starting quarterback for Florida State is 6'4", but he weighs 169 pounds.
Really?
I was watching the UM game today. How are you 6'4", only 169 pounds? And you're like, you play for one of the top teams in college football. You're the starting quarterback. You know how tiny that is?
He's probably a gazelle, man. He's probably can run like a 4.3, 4.2, 4.3 40.
They said he doesn't run the ball much, but he said that his arm is actually pretty strong. But I'm like, how strong can it be? You're only 169 pounds. You got no weight to like put behind the ball.
It could be muscle. It could be like Bruce Lee muscle, no fat.
He's gonna have to beat Bruce Lee. I
So
stopped watching it.
So guys, should we
we move on to matchups.
I think that was I think we should transition into talking preview week 5.
Yeah.
So yeah, Father, why don't you take it away?
Yeah. So we talked about the matchup between Rashid and Chris, which right now looks to be pretty heavily in favor of Rashid.
Thanks, Father.
Sorry, man.
You're not, yeah, but if you,
I haven't had one player play yet. What are you talking about? One guy, and I just had updated my defense to the Jets, so I'm actually right now technically on points in the league.
This is one thing I'll say about this matchup, okay, and I think it can go either way, but I'm fearful of a blow up by Russell with Graham. That stack could really ruin my weekend.
I don't know, man. I mean,
I feel like we're even for like the times we played in the past, like what 4 or 5 years. I feel like me and you. I feel like we should be even. I gotta look it up, but I think I don't know how many times we've played, but it's probably at least 6, and I think it's about 3-3.
so I think. Again, I think it's really going to be who Chris starts this game. I mean, I'm looking at his lineup now. I won't give away any pointers, but I mean, I will say this: there are 3 Seattle Seahawks playing. So if Rashid is right, and Russell Wilson blows up, then it'll be great. If he doesn't, then So if you look at some of the other matchups, you got David Wilson's ghost. We got Sean versus Andrew. I think my view is I think Sean's probably got this on the lock. Anything could happen, but I mean, he's got a pretty full squad starting. Hopkins, OBJ, John Brown. That's an interesting start. I don't know if I would do that, given that he's probably not going to start this week. But got Lamar Miller, Bilal Powell, Duke Johnson, all solid running backs, and then Charles Clay, who's basically the entire Buffalo offense, passing offense, and Jason Witten. So it's pretty good start. It's a pretty good lineup. You got Make America Great Again. You got Rumsey playing Cheryl. That's going to be a close one. I think it all depends on whether Cheryl's spots, because I know she's got a lot of people on bye, similar to my schedule, perform this week for the better. Otherwise, I think it's probably going to be MAGA. Jerome, man, I mean, I'm hoping he can pull away with a win, but it's going to be tough because Anthony already has a pretty good solid start. He made up for a sort of poor performance by Gillislee with extra points from Brait, and I think Kareem Hunt is going to blow up this week. I think the Kansas City Houston game is. I think the defenses are going to balance each other out, and I think it's probably going to be somewhat of a shootout. That's my feeling. I know that's probably not what most people think, but I think that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, Fadl. I think this one, what's interesting about this matchup is that, and it is close, but I think where it really will be separated is what does Melvin Gordon do this week and what does Kareem Hunt do this week?
That's right.
And if Melvin Gordon returns to form, and by the way, the Giants have not been what they were last year against the run. Melvin Gordon also has not been what he was last year in terms of being a top 5 running back
in fantasy.
He's injured.
And he's been pretty good. He's been okay. He's ranked 73rd right now, but that's not what you paid for if you took Melvin Gordon like as a keeper, which and he was a guy that carried him last year, and now he's up against basically, if you think about it, like Kareem Hunt is this year's Melvin Gordon, like his emergence, and he's even on a different level. But if you think about it, like Melvin Gordon was kind of this guy who had struggled with injuries.
Right.
He was somebody who was like kind of left for dead a little bit.
Right.
Because he didn't score a touchdown famously in his rookie season, neither rushing nor receiving. And then all of a sudden he just exploded last year. And both of these teams, the Chargers and the Giants, are 0-4 and desperate for a win. So it also kind of makes it interesting. I think this comes down to if Melvin Gordon outscores Kareem Hunt this week, I think Jerome will come away with this. If Kareem Hunt outscores Melvin Gordon, I think Byers Bungles is gonna take it and leave Crimson without a win for the season.
I think it's a very key, very, very key game for Crimson. I think if he loses this one, I think he should start looking at getting picks. I think the season's done for him.
Next week I'm fucked.
Did you notice that I picked up Eckler?
Yeah, man. I actually just heard about him the day before I saw you pick him up.
I think he's gonna. I mean, from everything I've read about this guy, and I've seen some of his video, he's super fast, super explosive, super like just off the charts dynamic. If he keeps getting a bigger and bigger timeshare, I think he may. My feeling is he may end up forming a sort of Tevin Coleman role. Not in the same way Tevin Coleman does a la Devontae Foreman, but more as sort of like, in terms of timeshares. So who knows? I mean, I feel that, Melvin Gordon is a trade buy low player right now. Moving on. So I guess we covered all of it except for my game against Click, which it's going to be an interesting one. I'd have to say I definitely shouldn't have started Jaquiz Rodgers, although I felt at the time it was the right move to make because of his progress. But I think it's going to be a close one. I think had the trade worked with Chris, it would have been a done deal. But
yeah,
now
if you lose this to Lorenzo, man, Lorenzo's not going to let you live this down, and so probably sometime in the playoffs and stuff if you guys make it. But I think Lorenzo sometimes is just like it's kind of like herding cats, man. You never know, if it's going to happen or not. Like you don't know if his strategy is going to work. I think he has some good ideas sometimes, but I don't think he just doesn't he doesn't commit to a plan. He just kind of goes week in and week out. So you might get lucky, man. He might drop or pick somebody up tomorrow. You never know what's gonna happen tomorrow morning. Like the guy's insane. So you know who he's gonna start, who he's gonna like pick up, whatever happens. But I think you have a shot, dude. I think if you win this, I'm looking at. Let me see. Let me look at the overview of the team. I mean, Fado, you're
Can I just chime in? Esco, can I just chime in here?
You're at 2-2, dude. You're still in good position. What's up?
I just want to read off a list of names, and I want you guys to think about whether or not you think these guys are impact players. That's all I want to do. C.J. Anderson, Michael Thomas, Terrell Fryer, Drew Brees, Dalvin Cook. Like coming into the season, do you guys think those were going to be, like impact players in fantasy?
I mean, Drew Brees, dude, it's always going to be on a list. Retires, it's Drew Brees.
What about C.J. Anderson?
Not 100%.
So I view I view C.J. Anderson as a half of the season running back.
And what about Michael Thomas?
I view Michael Thomas as somebody I'd want to keep for the next 5 or 6 years.
Terrell Pryor?
Terrell Pryor is somebody I'd probably want to have on my team ever because of he's too boomer bust for me, and he's been a wide receiver for 2 years in his life.
Yeah.
No.
And how about Dalvin Cook? Obviously, he went down, but before he went down,
I mean, I would have considered him kind of like Carlos Hyde, a low end RB1, high end RB2 week to week. What do you think, Chris?
I don't know. I mean, what he plays for Minnesota, right? So you're looking at a team that I was playing Adrian Peterson for 8 seasons and stuff like that. He has like huge shoes to fill. You got a team, and then plus Minnesota is not always the easiest place to play at. So I think, and he's still really, really young. I think he's only 22. So he's probably more than likely hurt. And he's probably not even saying anything, or maybe it could just be the offensive line just isn't giving him the space that he needs. But I mean, it's still early, dude. It's only the 4th week. I feel like there's a few, obviously there's a couple of running backs out there that are killing it. I got one of them. I think Fournette is gonna be he's gonna be a beast.
I think you're right. I think you're right about Fournette, but I think what Rashid is trying to point out is there is a pattern of selectivity in Lorenzo's lineup, which really the best example of which would be his keeper and Paul Perkins.
Okay.
I mean, these aren't consistent. These are all boomer bust players in a way, or mostly, I would say.
Yeah, but Lorenzo's strategy is he doesn't play for.
I gotta give a shout out to my Paul Perkins ghost title on the chat the other day.
Yeah. So
Lorenzo's strategy though is kind of like so he doesn't play for the long haul. Like he plays for the week. So his thing is he'll play for guys that he think will have that hot. They might go for let's say 40 or 50 yards a game for 4 or 5 games in a row. And then he kind of has a funny feeling because the way the defensive and the offensive are matching up that this running back might have an insane game. So he's not somebody who picks a group of players and kind of sticks with them and kind of rides them out for the rest of the season. He'll trade and drop players that most people would just probably keep for a whole season with no problem. But Lorenzo's philosophy is he plays kind of he plays for the week, which is kind of cool. It's exciting. I mean, you never know what you're gonna get from him. So I don't think it usually works out very well, but it's exciting to watch.
Chip Kelly.
I mean, case in point, right, guys? He dropped the remainder of his fab in week 4 going into 5 to get Latavius Murray to make sure that he had 3 starting running backs facing Fodder this week because he just lost Dalvin Cook. C.J. Anderson's on a bye. So and Danny Woodhead is also on IR along with Cook. He needed and Wendell Smallwood is unlikely to play this week as well. So he needed a running back desperately. So that's why he dropped $51. Now, any of us could tell you or tell anybody that you don't need to drop the remainder of your fab on Latavius Murray. But, don't put it past Lorenzo.
But and not to mention, I mean, I think we're something very key here. He's got McKinnon on the bench too. I mean, McKinnon. There are some people saying that McKinnon might, even though, McKinnon has been tested in the past in this regard. Some people are saying McKinnon will be the guy. So if McKinnon is the guy, he has now Latavius Murray on the bench, and he's going to be stuck trying to sort out what to do. Do I start Murray? Do I start McKinnon? Do I start both?
Yeah.
Type of scenario?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough call. And it's one that you definitely, if you're going to make a good decision, you probably need to wait till the very, like, at least to 12:30 tomorrow to make it. Because the latest information is probably going to be the best information. That's usually how that plays out.
That's by the way, we just got interrupted, bro. Brother just showed up. Charles. Hold on.
Yeah, Charles.
I also took $10 from him, so he's probably gonna
tell
come.
Charles he's on the We Still Here Fantasy Football podcast episode 2.
Hold on, he just got in. He's I forgot. I think he's doing something real quick. Hold on, give him a second. He came in and said that he was gonna win, this season.
All right, follow.
There's only 3.
He's got a good shot.
There are only 3 people right now that are 3-1, which is him, Sean, and Rashid. Fado, you're a 2-2, dude. Get past this week and get a win. Like, you're in good shape still. You'll be 3-2. Me on the other hand, like, dude, I need to win. I need to win, and I need to win big. I need to get a decent blowout. I need to have a blowout this season, this week. For Rashid, I need to beat you by 20, 30 points. I need to kill you. I need to eat your lunch. That's what I need to do. I need to eat your lunch.
You know what you need? Chris?
I need to pray. Maybe, I don't know.
No, you need
fantasy gods.
You need Rashid to bring you bagels in the next morning after you beat him.
Actually, we did have he actually introduced me to this bakery a few blocks away from his house in Sunset. That's actually, I told you, Rashid, I brought my aunt there right after I left you. I picked her up.
No, you didn't tell me.
I picked her up and I brought her there. Dude, she loved it, man. She had a bagel, and my cousin also had a muffin or something like that, and they loved it. So yeah, that was actually pretty cool. But yeah, if I lose tomorrow, maybe if you want to be nice, you can come by sometime this week and bring me a fresh bagel. Or maybe some sort of breakfast sandwich.
You got it, bro. And let's make it the other way around as well.
Yeah, like a lox.
Oh man, I get you some lox. I
want those Scotia locks, baby. I want those Scotia locks.
She talked. You like last episode.
What?
There was a segment about Rashid's obsession with bagels last episode.
Oh man, that's a New York thing, dude. You can't live in this city and go to high squad here and not eat bagels every morning for breakfast. That is a I'm not sure if they do the same thing in Cincinnati, but dude, out here it's a bacon, egg, and cheese with a Tropicana orange juice. It's a starter pack for every high school freshman or sophomore in New York. So
yeah, just like that, baby. Just picking up them coins. Yeah. Yo, guys, I think we should go ahead and wrap up with just a final segment on who I think we should each get a chance to just say who we think is going to win. And of course you can pick your own team and just say why. From this point on, we'll keep updating this. But Chris, who do you think is going to take it this year?
Oh man, I think Cheryl always she puts the fear of God in me, man. Out of anybody in this whole entire league, for some reason she scares me the most. She's a huge Pittsburgh fan. I think she knows football. She knows football. She has great picks. So yeah, I think she's the one that I'm always worried about, man. Every week I watch her team and I'm shocked. So yeah, so that's my pick.
Wait, are we making picks for each game?
No, I think for the season.
We're picking who we think.
I think that's a safe bet. I think Cheryl for me is a safe bet. Every year, regardless if it was season 1 or what are we on, season 5 right now, or whatever next year too, man. I think she's
5. Yeah, season 5.
So no, year 5. What year are we on? We're on year 5, right?
5. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think every year, dude, she's a person that you have to worry about. So yeah, I'm going with her. That's my pick.
So you're talking about season, not matchup. Okay.
No, yeah, I'm
This
talking
season,
about like
yeah,
whoever
for the year.
wins the fantasy league. So
We can do matchups after this, but for the season, I would say it's tough. I mean, I would say probably Sean.
yeah,
Yep. I couldn't
That's-
disagree with that. I wouldn't be able to disagree with that. But just
You
to
pick yourself, probably Sean.
I don't want to give you guys that much credit. That's why. If Sean's listening, I'm not giving you that because you picked those.
all right, guys.
Just
Just to throw a little like wrinkle in. I also want to say I could totally win it this year. I've won it before. I'm in second place right now. I would say it hinges on this, and it's two things. I'm going to be totally like transparent.
Here we go.
Like, if David Johnson comes back at the end of the year, like if he plays in the fantasy regular season, or if I make the playoffs and he comes back for week 15, which may not happen, or so there's two options that could happen, or I could flip David Johnson for somebody that's going to produce this year at an elite level to somebody who's out of it and wants like a bona fide like number one type keeper player for next year, and still make the playoffs and still win with that player going off.
All right.
So I mean,
you are you done with your little soliloquy?
and I'm in it to win it, baby. I want to, I'm never gonna say die.
Rasaba probably gives him a pep talk every morning. She's like, good job. She's like, you got this, babe. You got this. You got this. You're gonna take this. Yeah.
Says the guys in ninth and 11th place right now.
Listen, I gotta find something to hate right now. So I gotta
tell you something.
He was good, so I gotta criticize something.
Guys, David Johnson goes down and I'm in second place. How do you explain it?
Rashid is never going to trade David Johnson. And if I know something about Rashid, this is what's going to happen. He'll let the courage build up. He'll feel like his team is like, completely unstoppable. Then he'll get slammed. Then he'll get slammed again. And then he'll be like, oh, shit, I'm in sixth place. Need to make a trade. They didn't make a trade, and the person he trades for gets injured. And then he's out. Am I right, Chris?
Yeah, it happened last year like that, and I feel like Rashid goes in. I think he does well in the beginning of the season, but then I think life kind of comes together, and then he doesn't really have the time, so then things will fall off. So I feel like that's what's gonna happen. I feel like week 6 or 7, we'll start seeing Rashid not paying attention as much, and some mistakes will happen, and then before you know it, he goes from third place or second place. I'm sorry to like 6th or 7th. So we'll see what happens.
Guys, just so you know, I'll take 6 as long as I'm in the tournament. I really don't care how I get in.
And then you'll sell your team like you did last year and try to.
There's nothing worse than being on the trading table with Rashid when he feels like his team is like godly, because you will offer him like a wide receiver 2 for like another wide receiver 2, and he'll like counter you for like a wide receiver 5 and say it's fair.
What wide receiver 2 are you offering me?
I'm not saying I'm offering you one, but this is what will happen. And then once you get,
I want to get specific here. I want to know what people are saying about me. I want to know where you're pulling this from, because I don't think it's valid. What wide receiver 2 did you offer me?
I'm not saying I'm going to offer. I'm giving an example, because if you get to the 6th or 7th spot and you feel like, oh shit, I'm not going to make the playoffs, that's when we learn about Rashid. Am I right, Chris?
All I want to say, guys, is I won a championship. I know what it's like to win a championship. I'm battle tested.
Yeah, the thing is, listen,
it's all me right now. Okay, guys.
And
I've tasted the victory. I've held the We Still Here trophy, the original We Still Here trophy.
Yeah, Father, let him have it, man. Let him have it. But I mean, I got to be honest though, man. Rashid is like my best friend, and I've known him, like I said before, a long time. And I think Rashid, if he gets pissed off, man, you don't want him like backed up into a corner, because then he's gonna get hungry, and then he's gonna pay even more attention. And he's gonna pick up guys that probably people don't even look at, and they're probably gonna go on for like 20 points. So I kind of want to keep Rashid where he is right now, which is cocky and happy. So he doesn't really pay attention, and then he'll make some mistakes and stuff like that. So let's not poke the tiger here.
Yeah,
Let's.
We're just
yeah.
Straight on the tiger. That's all.
Yeah, let's not poke this tiger and get him piled up in the cage, and then he gets loose, and we're both assed out.
Hey, one thing, guys. One thing I wanna conclude with is just in my matchup with Escobar. Looking at the matchups, I think one key thing that's going to be really interesting is actually defense. Our defenses, because one thing that's cool about our league, and we still hear like defenses can actually go off and score like 30 points. And Chris has picked up his New York Jets this week,
which I think they're going to do well. I think they're going to do really well.
Going into Cleveland to face the Browns, the 0-4 Browns. Go figure. And I've got the Bengals hosting the Buffalo Bills. So it's two AFC East teams going on the road to face, I guess one is an AFC North, two AFC North teams that are hosting. So one thing that's always been interesting about the league is that, like we mentioned before, about the AFC North rivalry between Cheryl and Fadl going back years. And then it's also like the interesting AFC North, AFC East and NFC North, because we had the Buffalo Bills fan in Chris Brandstetter, and we also had the New York Jets fan in Esco. So that's an ongoing theme that's been going on for a while, and that'll be popping up this week as well. I think that's going to be a key matchup in our matchup, Chris. That'll probably decide things.
I think Chris has a better team, pound for pound, than you, Rashid. But I feel like this week your matchup is better.
Honestly, I can't disagree with that, and even on the season, I'll say that I've had some really good fortune with the matchups as well. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it.
Listen, my philosophy this season, I'm just playing the numbers game, which is like, every week I'm always matched up well. Like I'm always in the high. I'm like 180, 185, even 190 at times. So I'm like, eventually, like everything has to kind of come together, and I'm hoping that it happens in the middle of the season where I can go on a decent winning streak, like win like 4 or 5 games in a row. Because all my players do. Like if you look at all the points that I added up, it's always I'm always one of the top 3 guys every week. I think even top 2. Sometimes I'm even number 1.
You're all overall number 1 this week. Just for clarification.
You're overall number 1.
But it's like that every week though, and this is what I'm saying. Like my picks and my teams, or my team in general, is good. But I just have some bad luck. Guys are playing against me, and I'm having, they're having career games, for the season. And they're blowing up like 30, 40 points. And you can't fight Cam Newton when he scores 40 points for your team. Like it's so hard to get a win, But we'll see. Hopefully Rashid just sinks this week. Then my brother, I don't know. My brother's sitting next to me right now talking a lot of trash. But Charles, say hello to the gentleman. Say hello.
Hello, fellas. How's it going?
How's it going, man?
Yo, what's up, Charles?
Got up from work right now.
Yeah, man. You had a good night?
Yeah, it's cool, quiet, peaceful.
Yo, man, I want to come through for that run on Wednesdays.
All right. It's going to be over now. Winter time.
What about next week?
What am I doing? I think I got to work next week. I'll let you know. I think I got to work, but I'll let you know, though. I think it's this Wednesday or no? No, I got to know because I'm taking off Sunday, so I'm going to switch with Susu. You know what? I'll either this Wednesday or next Wednesday. I'll let you know. I got to see which one I'll work. I know one of these.
Plus, there's a hurricane that just hit. They said it might rain Wednesday, so.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
So how about we wrap it up by going through the matchups real quick and just saying who you think will win, and we'll close it out.
That sounds great. Fadl, you want to kick us off?
Yeah. So let's start with Charles and Tete and Steve.
Oh man, that's scary. I'm probably gonna go. I gotta go with my brother because he's staying next. He's sitting right next to me, man. So I'll go with my brother, man. I gotta support him.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm agreeing with that. Charles is a big favorite this week, and unfortunately for the TE boys or Stephen Tete, Dawn of August, um, they've got they're relying on OJ Howard's goose egg on Thursday Night Football not burning them, and I think it's going to. Um, Charles Fields, Ertz, and Rudolph, who are projected to combine 26 or so points, and Howard's already played for Stephen Tete with 0, and all that they've got left is Ingram. So I think there's going to be a big lopsided favor in favor of Charles there, and I think across the rest of the board it might be even. Stephen Tete need like huge games to make up for that from either Jordy or Keenan Allen, which could totally happen, or Zeke, which also could totally happen. But I also like some blowout possibilities for AJ Green this week against Buffalo, who Charles has. Jordan Howard against Minnesota, believe it or not, and Crowell against the Jets. I think Crowell goes. I think Crowell breaks out this week. He's been in a slump, and I think he's coming through this week to take down Steven Tete.
So I think Charles as well.
Yeah.
For the reasons you stated, except that I would add that I think Gallman is probably going to underperform this week. Sorry, I know you Giants fans are there, but I think he's going to underperform. I think Ingram is going to underperform as well. I don't think Seattle is going to have a very good defensive performance, but I don't think Arizona is either. So I think they're probably going to equal out in some respects. I think Jordan Howard is probably going to have a decent game. Crowell is going to have a decent game. Giovanni Bernard, I think this is going to be one of his best games. I was actually pretty hot on him this week, and the reason for that is I think from watching the Bengals this week and listening to them on television and reading reports, I think they're going to get him probably more involved in the running game as well as the passing game. I think they're looking at him as sort of potentially being more of the feature back than Mixon, potentially this week if he does well. And then I think Alshon Jeffrey is going to probably have an okay game. Cam Newton's not going to have as great of a game as he had last week, but I think it'll work itself out. So if we move on, what about between Sean and Andrew?
That's easy for me, Sean.
Sean.
Sean,
man. Sean's got a Tom Brady.
He's the champ. He's in first place. He's favored by 20 points. Do we have to say anything else?
Yeah, I go Sean, man. I go Sean all the way.
Okay.
What about Sassy Steelheads and Make America Great Again? What do you guys think?
I think Rumsey's going to take it.
You think Rumsey's going to beat her?
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be a tight win for him. And the reason I like Collins this week, actually, I like Collins. I think Ajayi is just waiting to explode, and he's playing against the right defense to do that. Jonathan Stewart, I think, is a bad start, but he may get his projected seven points. Thielen has been, he's been solid, but I think he's due for a good game against Chicago. And Prescott, and I think the Dallas Green Bay game is going to be a shootout. So I think Prescott's probably going to have maybe close to a 30-point game, I would say. And then I would say with Cheryl's team, I mean, I look at it and I think, wow, like you really got to get lucky. I mean, Foreman and Breida and what's his name? Luke Wilson? I mean, it's going to be tough to get
Yeah.
pretty.
Yeah, I'd say it's actually gonna go. It's gonna go against Cheryl this week as well. Ramsey is gonna take it. I think that the bye weeks are just killing Cheryl this week. Cheryl's got both Ginn and Ingram and Chris Thompson all on bye this week. She also lost Derek Carr to the back injury. He was going to be playing Baltimore, but
is Derek Carr out for the whole season?
That's also why I think she spent as much as she did to get Deshaun Watson this week. To give herself a chance.
Play tomorrow.
Carr?
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way I would play Carr over Deshaun Watson right now, given Carr's injury and the fact that he could be pulled from the game at any time if he gets hit and just feels discomfort, which is totally possible, probable.
Yeah.
I mean, aren't we talking about something similar to what Tony Romo had?
Well, I mean, I think regardless of whether Carr plays or not, or a starter or not, I think Deshaun Watson is the better start this week, and I think he's actually probably going to be a comparable start every week going forward. He's just insane. I mean, I'm a believer in Deshaun Watson. I think,
dude, I want to put it out there and just apologize because I totally thought that the Bengals had drafted Deshaun Watson, and I congratulated Fadl on them getting him, only to find out that, and I think it might have had something to do with him being a Clemson Tiger and the Bengals being the same animal.
Yeah, I think so.
I honestly think that was an association in my mind, and I thought Watson was a Bengal, and I'm sorry, man, because if he was, I think that you guys would be in the playoffs picture right now.
I'm loving the sound effects, man.
Yeah.
I'm loving the sound effects.
That's too bad. Should we move on to the next matchup?
Would have been in the playoffs. Next matchup, Jerome, 0-4 Jerome.
I'm going for Jerome, man. Jerome's got to get a win this week. I mean, it's just odds, man. Jerome's got to get a win. Even if he doesn't want to win, even if he tries not to get a win, I think he still gets the win. I just feel like he's going to I feel like it's his time. I feel like this is the
Jerome is overdue. I tend to agree with that.
Yeah, I feel like Des Bryant. I mean, look at this team. T.Y. Hilton, Shane Vereen, I think might do something.
I stick by what I said though. I think that if Melvin Gordon outscores Kareem Hunt this week, which I think is within the realm of possibility. Again, the Giants have not been good against running backs. They're also have never been good against pass catching running backs. Melvin Gordon is one. He's very elusive. I think hopefully he can have a good game and the Giants can still win. And if he outscores Kareem Hunt this week, I think Jerry's going to pull this off.
Let's not.
And I'm calling Jerry as well.
Let's not get crazy. I'm going for my boy Anthony Latafe, man from Detroit, guy who will complain when he wins the lottery. I think if you look at his lineup this week, they're great.
Can I tell you my concern with his lineup this week?
Hold on. Let me just sell you why I think it's going to work for him. You can rebut it. Kareem Hunt against Houston. This is going to be a shootout. All right, it's going to be a shootout. Kareem Hunt's going to score 30 points. Amari Cooper is due for a game. Okay, he's due for a game. Yeah, he's playing under different quarterback, but he's due for a game. I think if he's gonna have a good game, it's gonna be this one against Baltimore, who hasn't had a very good season this year. I think Richardson probably isn't gonna have a good showing. Marvin Jones probably gonna have an okay showing. Mixon, like I mentioned to you earlier, I think he's probably not gonna get the lion's share of the work. It's gonna be Giovanni, but Mixon will hit his target at 12. Jared Cook is probably going to be a monster tomorrow. He's going to be the entire passing offense for them, in my opinion. And Beasley, I think Beasley's a solid character. He's going to give him probably 8-9 points. And then to top it off, he's starting Detroit against Carolina. I mean, I would expect at least a 20-point defensive showing for that.
You think so? You don't think Cam Newton is gonna?
No, man. Detroit's defense this year, I would say, is top 3, top 4. Wouldn't you say, Rashid?
Yeah, I would. Well, I would tend to agree, and but I would also put the wrinkle in with both Cook and Cooper. I would just put in the wrinkle that Baltimore's got a really good secondary. It's been one of the best secondaries in football this year. They, I believe, are either tied or lead the league in picks. And they've done a really good job against opposing pass catchers. I think that it was a tight end that scored 3 times against them though when they played in England. And I think they were just totally unprepared, ill-prepared for that game. I think they come out a little bit more prepared this time. If EJ Manuel's the quarterback, I think they're going to go right after him with blitzes, and I think it's going to be really difficult for him to. I think they're going to force Oakland to run the ball, prove that they can run the ball on them when they only rush 4 down linemen and make EJ Manuel beat them. And I don't think he's going to be able to beat them, and for that reason, I think it's going to be a down week for those 2 players who are going to be hurt by Carr's injury, and I think that's true even if Carr plays. I think Carr playing, even it could be detrimental to them as well in terms of his ability to get the ball down the field.
Keep in mind that Baltimore has given up the 5th most points to tight ends in the league. And
that's all on that one game with Mercedes Lewis, dude. The 3 touchdown game. They were just not prepared.
All right, Jenna, we got 2 more to go, man. I want to.
Let's wrap this up.
Rashid and Chris.
All right, so we got the Natty versus the Click, right? We have, dude, it's hard to tell you. I don't know who to go with on this one. It's also close. Fado, I want to go with you because I know you want to win, but I kind of want to see if I just want to hear Lorenzo just trash talk for the rest of the season. So I think I might have to go with Lorenzo on this one. You know, I just want to see him just talk trash in the chat rooms a little bit. So I'll go with Lorenzo, man.
Yeah,
simply based on, I'm not even just looking on points. I'm not even looking at players, but I'm just thinking that, it is what it is. Let's see if the craziness works.
I love it, Chris. I love it. Fadl?
What?
Fadl's team is battle tested. He's made it to the championship 2 out of 4 years for a reason. And he's, I think, got probably somebody. I'm gonna call it right now, and it doesn't make me happy to call it this way because I have Eddie Lacy, but I think Thomas Rawls is gonna eat this week against the Rams, and that's gonna be a critical win for File in this matchup over his former player in DeMarco Murray, and that's so that trade that he had with Lorenzo, I think, is going to come up actually kind of big here. And yeah, I think File's going to take this.
Do you think you think Murray might not have a good game? Is that what you're saying?
Miami's got a good rushing defense. They only allow like 3.2 per carry. And let's just be honest, Murray has not been what he was last year. He's clearly a shadow of his former self from last year. So, and look, while I'm at it, I'll just tell you this: LeGarrette Blount's got a tough matchup this week. Arizona's got a good front 7. He's played well so far this year, but I do think that's probably one of the best front 7s he's going to face for the season. And Latavius Murray is also going up against a good defense, and his offense is probably, if Sam Bradford plays, that could change things for Murray. Because I think they become a much more scary offense that can throw the ball down the field, and that might open up some running lanes for him.
I think he is playing, isn't he?
Bradford, yeah, I heard he was likely actually. So that could be interesting because if Murray does anything, I mean, obviously he outscores Jaquiz Rogers easily, and that could prove to be, the straw that broke the Bengals' back, so to speak.
All right,
Guys,
so
we're going to move on to the last matchup.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, go have at it.
So Esco, how am I going to beat you this time?
Did you even beat me last year? I'm just curious. Did you?
I think we split last year. I think you beat me early and I beat you late.
It was 1-1. Yeah. I mean, dude. I don't even know what.
You did squash me like a bug, I think, and I swooped one out against you. So you could call it in your favor. So I owe you a little bit. Let's look at it that way.
I mean, dude, I wish you the best of luck, but I think Russell Wilson is probably gonna have a decent game this week. I feel like let me look. I'm trying to look at my dude. High, hopefully, Fournette. All these guys are gonna kill for me. I feel like if they just hit their numbers or come close, I'll do well. It's gonna be a tough matchup, man. We'll see. I mean, it's only like a 5-point separation, and I think the Jets defense is gonna play a huge part in helping me come away with this W. So yeah. So go ahead, man.
Yeah, I have to say, again, like I agree with you. I think it's gonna be really tight, and I think those two defenses, whichever one of them blows up, and I don't think it'll be both, is gonna be the difference. And I really hope it's the Bengals. That's what I would project if I was like looking at this from a neutral standpoint. I also want to bring attention to one particular player on my team who I'm kind of hoping has a great game. DeMarcus Lawrence at home against the Packers. Packers took out the Cowboys last year in the playoffs. It's a great game, one of the best games of the season last year, and it was in Dallas. Remember, Dallas was a 1 seed. Dallas is back home against the Packers this week. They have almost every player on their offensive line is injured. They're both their tackles. Neither of their starting tackles are playing right now. So they've just been filling holes on their offensive line like crazy. And DeMarcus Lawrence leads the league in sacks. So I'm kind of relying on him to have a big game this week, and I think he's going to.
So I think this has been actually my hardest.
And if it wasn't clear, I'm gonna win.
It was pretty. We had a little bit of a showing of that earlier, but I think. Look, if Fournette shows up, if McCaffrey shows up, and Hyde shows up, and they at least their pointage, and I think Hyde is going to blow up this game against Indianapolis. I think
can't disagree with that.
I think you're undervaluing the fact that I would start practically any running back that is going to get touches against Indianapolis because they're just terrible on defense this year. I think Hyde's going to blow up, and I think both of Chris's tight ends are going to have solid games. I think I'm probably, even though I said earlier that you have the lead, because I do think that you putting in James White and Amendola and them both showing up is a good start. I do feel like Chris is probably going to take this one. And the reason I think this way is because I was scouting his team all week, and the two players that I knew were going to go off were Hyde and Baldwin.
Yep.
And
I can't disagree with any of this, by the way.
And had I had gotten those two players, I would be significantly more confident in your ability to beat Chris this week. But I think Chris is going to have a resurgence. I think he's going to become 2-3.
Hallelujah.
2.
Hallelujah.
And by the way, in the previous episode, Chris, just so you know, I did say you were one of the top teams.
Dude, I got an A for the draft this year. First time ever.
I mean, you better have gotten.
Highest I got, I think, was a B.
You had 3 4th-round picks, dude.
I know. I got an
AKA
A.
First-round picks.
I know. I got Foddle's first-round pick, man. So technically, it still belongs to him.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry, Rashid, but
yeah, let's wrap this up.
Yeah, I think we know. So, if this ends up being the case, it will be Sean ahead of the entire league again.
By a wider margin. All
right, let's wrap it up.
It was a pleasure, man. Thank you for interviewing me. I really do appreciate it, man. I hope this is a success. And I'm hoping I can be out again before the end of the season. And hopefully I'm back at least in the top 5. Hopefully I make the playoffs this year. That's all I want. I feel like I'll do well. So, yeah, that's about it, guys. Thanks.
Yo, Chris, thanks for being on, man. It was a great interview. We look forward to enjoying the rest of the season with you. And we still here. We'll go out with some.
It's been a pleasure, Chris.
Thank you, gentlemen.
We'll catch you on Monday, huh?
For sure.
Feel on Monday.
For sure.
All right.
This feels good right here.